In search of the sunrise. The cool morning air smells of freshly unfurled leaves, of dampness, of spring. Every plant, each blade of grass, is heavy with perfect dewdrops, arranged like so many transparent pearls, each one a fragile work of art that will soon vanish in the day's heat. Placing one foot in the canoe and holding onto the gunwales for balance, with the other foot I gently shove off from the muddy shore, and then I settle into my seat, all in one smooth motion. What a wonderful feeling! While just moments ago I was standing on firm ground, I now am free. It seems as if I could be flying. I am gliding effortlessly over the calm water, and it feels both exhilarating and relaxing. The sky overhead is growing pale with the approaching dawn, and although it is unblemished by cloud, patchy mist adorns the lake and shores around me, softening, sometimes obscuring details, and transforming my surroundings from distinct reality to dreamy impressionism. As I slowly, silently paddle my canoe, roughly following the shoreline, the expanse ahead is a flawless mirror. The water feels soothingly warm to my bare fingers. My strokes are steady and fluid, but my pace is not at all hurried. I interrupt my rhythm occasionally for no other reason than to sit back, listen, observe, and appreciate. Out here, time seems to melt away. Out here, I am still a child. I can explore this world with the wide-eyed curiosity of a child, and delight in this world with unabashed exuberance. Tall grasses growing in the shallows, along with their nearly identical reflections on the glassy water's surface, catch my eye as if they were carefully placed brushstrokes on some master's canvas. My passing canoe leaves a series of small ripples on the water, and all at once these brushstrokes come to life, creating whimsical, ever-changing patterns that delight my eyes and captivate my imagination. From somewhere in the deeper forest where the dim light of this early morning has yet to penetrate, a lone owl calls repeatedly, its voice warm and mellifluous and full of dignity. Here and there, slender birch trees with curling, papery white bark and with strong roots clinging firmly to the bank lean far over the water, stretching out their knobby limbs as if they are reaching for something that is just beyond their grasp. As I paddle close under one such birch, so that its luxuriant leaves may gently brush over my face and shoulders, a blue and white kingfisher who had been quietly perched out of sight in the upper branches takes flight, chittering loudly as he goes, as if scolding me for awakening him so early in the morning. A little ways up the bank, towering, quaking aspens line the ridges like ranks of giant sentries keeping watch. They seem to be waiting patiently, expectantly, motionless and in stark silence, waiting for even the slightest breath of moving air to waft by, to wander through their branches, and to caress their delicately hung leaves. It could still be hours before they are granted their wish, but when the breeze does at last come, these same trees that are now so unmoving will lay aside any inhibitions and will begin to stir, their vibrant green leaves rippling and dancing unreservedly as if for joy. And they will sing with a voice much like water rushing over the rocks. Great hidden choruses of spring peepers and other frogs seem to be nearly everywhere along the shoreline, and they serenade me with much enthusiasm as I quietly slip by. A single robin, perched high on an old poplar, thrusts out its red breast and sings lustily, welcoming the new day, while other unseen birds skillfully contribute their own trills and warbles. I hear the familiar thump-thump-thumping of a male ruffed grouse beating his wings in an impressive swelling crescendo and sounding not unlike a well-executed drum roll. A shy mallard, closely encircled by her lively young brood, takes cover in the reeds as I approach, only to emerge again behind me and continue on her way once I have passed. From some nearby branch, a tiny white-throated sparrow bursts into song, lifting up its voice in a pure, unmistakable melody. This so simple a tune seemingly carries with it the essence of a spring morning. A pair of loons drift lazily in the bay, looking quite laid back and content, their silhouettes conveying a sense of grace and elegance. Paddling just a little further down the shoreline, I can hear the pleasant whisper of flowing water, where a spring bubbles out from the wooded hillside and playfully gurgles and splashes its way down the rocky bank. The rasping calls of sandhill cranes on the wing echo across the water from the distance, while at the same time I notice movement close by at water's edge. Two spindly-legged sandpipers are wading in the shallows, taking turns poking their long, slender beaks into the muck. The staccato drumming of a woodpecker on a dead poplar resounds across the forest and lake, adding yet another fine touch to this day's fantastic musical overture. As I have been making my way down the lake, heading eastward, the sky before me has been gradually brightening in anticipation of the sunrise. Now I can tell by the intensifying pastel glow over the trees that the sun will be making its appearance shortly. I see the mouth of the creek not far ahead. This creek casually meanders its way through a quarter mile of rich muskeg and marsh. So casually, in fact, that what current there is nearly indistinguishable. The creek is quite shallow, and just wide enough to navigate comfortably with my canoe. And the whole area is positively teeming with life. Cattails, lily pads, and countless other interesting aquatic plants flourish along the channel. And this morning there is also a bit of fresh-cut brush anchored here and there in the water, a reminder that beavers also spend time here. Although I do not actually meet any this morning, I see plenty of evidence all around me as I purposely linger here in the creek that other creatures such as otter, mink, and muskrat relish this quiet haven as much as I do. I notice dazzling, shiny-winged dragonflies, as well as other smaller insects, all clinging to the lush, wet vegetation, each tiny creature having minute drops of water weighing it down, and each one calmly biding its time until the morning sunshine warms its body and dries its fragile wings, whereupon it will fly off into this new day. This, more than any other place, is where I love to find myself in an early morning. There is something inviting, something so very enchanting in the coolness, the seclusion, in the absolute serenity that envelops me here. I feel a sense of peace and of reverence, and I wish to do nothing to disrupt this, but to simply bask in and blend with the harmony of sounds, sights, and smells around me. From the very beginning of this day's foray into the wild, I have instinctively sensed a need to be silent. But as I enter the closer confines of the creek, an even greater, almost solemn hush falls over me. It's as if I have ventured into some holy sanctuary. My paddle must not make the slightest swish or splash as it propels me forward. I automatically slow my already unhurried pace. I observe and listen to the life around me with even greater sensitivity. I want to drink in. I want to experience and savor the peace that I find here. The mist hangs low over the creek and seems to be holding tightly to the bushes and trees so as not to be broken up and dispelled. Here, the atmosphere is thick, not just with the morning's dampness, but with the songs and calls of forest creatures all about me, now so near that I feel as if I could reach out and touch them with my fingertips. Although I still have not yet seen the sun, the heavy mist just beyond the next bend, as well as the very landscape itself, has begun to burn with a rich golden hue, and I can make out focused columns of light filtering through the trees, piercing the fog in fan-shaped beams as if streaming from some powerful searchlight. This day is dawning with unrivaled splendor, and here I sit in my old canoe in this small and secluded creek, bathing in the strains of this morning's symphony of nature, and mesmerized by the progressive unfolding of exquisite beauty before me. This moment, this place, these are mine alone.